Thank you for turning to page 121. No, we're not going to go through brush fires again, the adventure for 5th Frontier War. I covered this a little while ago on the channel. But we are going to look at one element out of here. It's a new concept to Mongoose's publications, but it's been around for a while, but I like it. I think it's worth talking about. It is talking about minor NPCs. And on page 5, we get a section called Trivial Characters. If you're chasing one, is it Trivial Pursuit? Haha. Anyway, Trivial Characters. This adventure uses the Trivial Characters concept from 5th Frontier War. People who are encountered only in passing are considered trivial and given a minimal set of stats. This will be fleshed out if the character reappears or becomes more important in your story. I like that idea. Trivial characters are rated for strength, dex, and endurance, as these can affect combat or physical contests, and are given a die modifier for their area of competence, their AOC. In other words, an indication of how good they are, what they do, without specific levels, skill levels, or die modifiers. It can be assumed the character will have other skills, but for the purposes of fleeting encounter, their area of competence, die modifier is entirely sufficient. For example, a security guard with an AOC of +2 could logically apply it to such skills as recon, melee, gun combat, and maybe medic. A starport ground crew worker might be able to use mechanic, electronics, and engineer, whilst a portside broker could make a case for admin, advocate, portside broker could make a case for admin, advocate, and broker. A character can have more than one area of competence if this seems appropriate. This is just a quick shorthand to get you through an encounter that you otherwise don't really care much about. This is the guy checking your ticket at the line onto the shuttle. This is one of the inspectors taking a look at some of the crates you've just dropped off, that kind of thing. Anything you as the GM don't think is going to really require a lot of background knowledge, you go ahead and you just give them the strength, dex, and endurance stats in case it comes to some type of physical confrontation. And then you go ahead and assign them an area of competence. And you say, okay, they're good at this, they're good at that. And so if they're checking in your crate, maybe they're good at broker and admin and maybe streetwise. So maybe you get +2 on that. And let's face it, we've all met people like that. It's that person you meet at the party that you struggle to remember their name. You have a nice conversation with them, but you never get to know them. So their area of competence for that purposes would be small talk. You know, maybe they get a +2 modifier for it while you're standing there, and they're not horrible to be with. They're not bending your ear too badly, but it's just a conversation that you may struggle to remember 3 or 4 days later. I like this idea. I've used it, of course, as many GMs have. I've used something very similar to this for decades. You don't write out every single thing about every NPC the players are going to encounter. But I like that it's kind of formalized here. And we even get a little chart. And the chart down here at the bottom. Typical AOC die modifiers. Experience of character. At the beginning, you get no modifier, and it's a 0. Someone who has had basic first aid course, it's not going to hurt you doing basic first aid. Basic training, get you a die modifier of +1. Well-trained first aider or inexperienced paramedic. Basic training plus some experience is at +2 die modifier, and you're a paramedic. Training and considerable experience +3, you're an experienced hospital nurse. Advanced or postgraduate training +4, you're a junior doctor. Expert +5, experienced specialist doctor. And renowned expert +6, senior consultant. Now, of course, you're not going to have everybody you meet be a junior doctor, an experienced consultant, specialist. A lot of them are going to fall in between there. For just a quick thumbnail, though, it's a real good way to just go ahead and get the character out in front of your players, interact with them a little bit, add to the role-playing, and then move on. Now, when the players come back and they have to have something else checked to leave the port, maybe they encountered the same guy, maybe the guy has some important information that can lead deeper into the story, that would be when you would go ahead and make up the whole character and take him off the trivial character list and put him on the more important character list and make him a full-blown NPC. I love this idea. I love that it's formalized here. And I just thought it was worth talking about going forward because I already use a version of this. I used to just write 6 sevens on a piece of paper. That represented all the stats for my Traveler guide. It's just a guard they're going to encounter. And then I give them gun combat 1. And then I'm assuming, of course, for this kind of thing, if I'm only have strength, dex, and endurance, but I have to make a roll for their area of competence, I'm assuming also that they have an average whatever that skill is needed. So if it's something that checks against education, I'm assuming their education is 7, 8, 9, something like that. No modifier, whatever the number is. I didn't look that up off the top of my head, or out of the book, but off the top of my head, I believe those are no mods. So you would just give them the +2 to the roll. So you're looking for an 8. They throw a 6, +2 becomes an 8. They pass the check. That's the kind of thing this is good for. It's just to help you as the GM in prepping your game and help the players interact and then move forward without getting bogged down and finding out this character's entire life history. So I just think it's pretty neat. I like anything like this that helps a GM save time and also helps you think on your feet. You don't necessarily need to have this chart handy at all. You simply have it in your head, okay, these guys are +1 or +2, whatever I'm going to do, and then you can jot up some simple notes and be done with it. And this is not the first place this has appeared, or I've seen, not the first version of I've seen. As they say, it's in 5th Frontier War. But I remembered it here when I read through it, and I thought it was kind of neat. That's why I went ahead and I just went back to Brushfires and showed it there. So that's all I've got to say. Let me know what you think. Do you use a similar shorthand for relatively unimportant NPCs? Let me know in the comments below how you handle this kind of thing, how your players react. Incidental side note, the premise of this story is you have to find a cache of books that have been misplaced, but they're very valuable, and you're going to go ahead and you're going to retrieve them for the owner or other interested parties. I really like that, but I said in my video review of this, I know my players. They're not going to take it seriously if it's books. So at our game the other night, just for fun, before we started, I threw it out and I said, okay, you got to retrieve a pile of books. And immediately the joke started. What are they, phone books? Are these books I've read? What do I want to do with them? Will they survive being spaced? That's what I got, my reaction for that, because the dollar amount is relatively unimportant. So I said, okay, now what if I did the same scenario, but it was some top secret stealth fighter plans? And I said, oh yeah, we'd be totally in on that. So you as the GM know your players. I know mine pretty well. I figured that would be the conversation we had if I said books. And I was right. So I just kind of thought it was funny that they all reacted as I thought they would. And it's good to be right once in a while. But that's all I've got time for today on page 121. I want to thank you for watching. Please tell your friends. Let's keep growing the channel. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, if you haven't already subscribed. Also take a look at the Patreon, see if you can help me out there. But that's it for today on page 121. Thanks for spending time with me, and I'll see you next time.